Today for guided reading, we're going to look at some poems. And in the poems, I would like you to look for the important parts. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a poem called The Bean Stalk. And I just want you to listen carefully for what some important parts might be. Okay. Ho, giant, this is I. I have built me a beanstalk into your sky. La, but it's lovely up so high. This is how I came. I put here my knee, and there my foot. Up and up the beanstalk from shoot to shoot, and the blessed beanstalk thinning like a mischief all the time, till it took me rocking, spinning in a dizzy sunny circle, making angles with a root, far out above the cackle of the city I was born in, till the little dirty city in the light so sheer and sunny shone as dazzling, bright, and pretty as the money that you find in a dream of finding money. What a wind and what a morning. Okay, so what do you think this poem is about? Good. It is about Jack and the Beanstalk, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Jack and the Beanstalk. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to read, and as I read, I'm going to think aloud, which means that whatever I'm thinking in my head and trying to remember, I'm going to say out loud. So I'm going to read it again, and I want you to pay careful attention to the types of things that I'm saying. Ho, giant, this is I. It sounds like maybe someone is talking to a giant, and maybe ho means hello, and I'm kind of wondering who I is. But I'm going to keep reading. I've built me a beanstalk into your sky. Okay. So, as I've read, the authors explained a little bit more about what's going on in the poem. So, the I, whoever is talking in the poem, has built a beanstalk into the sky and is talking to a giant. So it kind of does remind me a little bit of Jack and the Beanstalk. La, but it's lovely up so high. So the person must have climbed this beanstalk, and they are up in the sky talking to the giant on the beanstalk. Okay. I think maybe I'm going to write that down in my graphic organizer so that I remember that this person has climbed a beanstalk that they've planted and are talking to a giant. I think that's really important. So this is how I came. I put here my knee and there my foot. Kind of like a ladder, because when you climb up a ladder, your knee goes up and then your foot goes above it. So it's kind of like a ladder, up and up from shoot to shoot. So yeah. They're going up the ladder, up the beanstalk. That reminds me a lot of climbing. And the blessed beanstalk thinning. So as the beanstalk is going up, it's getting skinnier. Because thin, I know thin is skinnier, so maybe the beanstalk is getting smaller as they go up. I'm not quite sure about that, so I'll have to keep reading. Like the mischief all the time, till it took me rocking, spinning. So it's kind of like, as it's getting skinnier, maybe it's rocking back and forth and it's getting kind of unsteady as he's climbing up, which would kind of make sense because I've seen branches on the trees kind of go crazy in the wind, and so maybe as it gets thinner, it's a little less stable. So we'll have to look at that. So, in a dizzy sunny circle. Sorry. So it's a sunny day and the beanstalk is waving because it must be windy. I think that might be important too to write down, that it's a windy sunny day as they're climbing the beanstalk. I need to write that down too. And it's making angles with the root. And I know in math class we've talked about angles and how when there's a root and something else, maybe it's making an angle, so maybe the beanstalk is bending completely over. So far we've seen that there's this person and they're climbing the beanstalk to see the giant, and they're talking to a giant on a sunny day that's windy. It's coming together now. I'm kind of understanding it a little bit more. Far and out above the cackle. Cackle kind of reminds me of a witch, because I've always heard like a laugh. When the witch laughs, they cackle. So I wonder if maybe someone's laughing at him for climbing the beanstalk, or maybe the giant is laughing at him. We'll have to look at that. Of this far and out above the cackle of the city I was born. So maybe his town is laughing at him, and the beanstalk was planted in his town, so it's growing above his town. So he's far and out above the cackle of the city I was born in. So he's climbing a beanstalk that he's planted in the town he was born in, and he is going up to see the giant on a sunny, windy day. Okay, so he's still climbing up till the little dirty city in the light so sheer and sunny shone as dazzling, bright, and pretty. So maybe till the tiny, dirty city. So the little dirty city, maybe the place that he was born in must be small, that he's climbing the beanstalk above him, and when the farther up he goes, the prettier it looks. And I can remember going in an airplane before, and places that look really dirty, like when I fly out of a city, when you get above it and the sun's shining on all the buildings, it looks really pretty. So he must be pretty high up for something that looks dirty and cramped to look really pretty. So I think I'm going to write down that he must be really high up. And so he's climbing really high up of the place that he's born in on a beanstalk to see a giant. And then he says, as the money you find in a dream of finding money. I know whenever I find money in a dream, it's big piles of gold. So it's really shiny and really pretty. So it must be really shiny and really pretty then. What a wind, what a morning. So this must have all happened in the morning then. So let me just think through all the different things that I found, all the different important parts. And the person speaking has planted a beanstalk in their hometown where they were born, and they are they're climbing this beanstalk that they have planted, and their hometown was really small and not so pretty, but they're really high up to see this giant, and their town looks really pretty from above. So I think that I'm going to write all of that down in my graphic organizer, and then I'll put all of that together, all the different parts that I've written down, and make a summary. And a summary is like what we've talked about before. It's just taking all the important parts and putting it together in one little paragraph. So now I'm going to give you your own poem, and from that poem